All right, you guys, I'm going to hit at least 2 more pages with you today. And honestly, most of these 2 pages are the same as the last 2 pages. So this entire page, which we're going to call page 10, is really just asking you to create equations from either two known points or, in some instances, from a single known point and a slope. And mostly this is just the same. The only difference between doing one of these from a slope of 1 point and from 2 points is the first step that you do when you do 2 points. And then you just have more options. So if I was going to do this, I'm going to show you once more. You do y2 minus y1, which you change in y. You do x2 minus x1, which you change in x to get your slope. In this situation, again, I'll label them x1, y1, x2, y2, go y2, minus a negative 3, which is y1, x2, minus a negative 4, which is x1. We'll go ahead and change the signs here, which will give us 5/10, so we have a slope of 1/2. At this point, this equation gives you a slope. Alright, this problem you now have a slope and two known points. Notice you actually just have more options down here now than you do up here. Both these problems solve the same. And the way you and I have solved these is by using point slope formula. Alright, so let's go ahead and choose a point to use. Let's use the 6, 2, just because they're both positive. So if I say y minus 2, which is my known y value, equals my slope, which we said was 1/2. And then we say x minus 6, my known x value. We get y minus 2 equals, this distributes through, so I've got 1/2 x minus 3. I'm going to write the answer in here. It's a little awkward place, but we're going to add 2 to both sides. We get y equals 1/2 x. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1, and there's that answer. Just because, I'm going to come up here and do this guy up here real quick. So my point slope is y minus y1. In this case, that would be y minus 0 equals my slope. And then x minus x1, x minus 3/2, which really just gives me y equals, distribute through, 5x minus 15/2, and that would be a solution to that. So other than that, I'm going to show you these 2 points. Your x-intercept has a y value of 0. There's a point. Your y-intercept has an x value of 0. And this is another situation we just know 2 points. We'll tell you that 7's a little tricky. We'll tell you that 8's a little tricky. And the rest of these shouldn't be too hard to handle. That should get you through page 10. On page 11, same stuff here. All right. Again, equations from 2 points. Down here asking for x and y intercepts. I just went over this in the last video, but I'm going to remind you that an x-intercept, right? An x-intercept has a y value of 0, and a y-intercept has an x value of 0. I'm not going to solve this because it's in a previous video. I will show you how to do one of these. Alright, so this is finding the midpoint when you know 2 points, and this is finding an endpoint if you know a midpoint. Alright, so if you remember the midpoint formula of any 2 points is this. Alright, it is the sum of your x's divided by 2. That's how we find the middle of a number. And the sum of your y's divided by 2. That's how we find the middle of a number. So if you want to find the middle of your x's, add them together and divide by 2. You want to find the middle of your y's, add them together and divide by 2. So if I wanted to find the middle of 4 and negative 2, I would say 4 plus negative 2 divided by 2. If I wanted to find the middle of 3 and negative 1, I'd say 3 plus negative 1 divided by 2. Well, that's 4 plus negative 2 divided by 2 is 1. 3 plus negative 1, 2 divided by 2 is 1. And there it is. This one's a little bit different. What this one's saying, I'm going to kind of draw it out here. This one's saying, hey, you know what? If I had, you know what, let's see if we can actually bring in another piece of paper. Hopefully you can see this guy. Let me move it. And I'm going to move this over real quick and show you 6. So 6 says if you have a point of 5, 3, 5, negative 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 5, negative 3. There's a point there. And then it says you have the middle point of 2, 6. Ooh, I should have given myself more room. Let's see if we can do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll say 2, 6. And it's saying that this is the middle. That's the middle. So somewhere up here, right, somewhere up there is the other endpoint. You could just count that out again, but I'm going to show you a way to handle this. Remember to find the midpoint. All right, so to find the middle of any 2 points, to find the midpoint, all right, what you do is this, all right, you add your x's and divide by 2, and you add your y's and divide by 2. All right. So if I broke this up, if I didn't write it like that, I wrote it like this. If I found my x middle and my y middle, all right, and wrote the same thing, x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2, and that's how I'd find both those points. All right. And let me give myself a little bit of an angle here and show you. All right. So we know at this point, your x middle is found by adding your x's and dividing by 2. We know this one, your y middle, is found by adding your y's and dividing by 2. Let's take the 2 points they told us. So we know that our x and y middle, so our x middle and our y middle, looks like I'll do number 6 is equal to 2, 6. So I'm going to put the 2 in over here. I'm going to put the 6 in over here. We found that by adding our x's. Well, we happen to know one of those x's. They told us 5 plus our other x divided by 2. And we happen to know one of our y, again in this problem number 6. And that is, let us see, negative 3 plus my other y divided by 2. We can just solve these. If I multiply both sides by 2, I get 4 equals 5 plus my other x.
Mama,
If I come over here and multiply both sides by 2, I get 12 equals negative 3 plus my other y. Subtract 5, I get negative 1 equals my second x. Add 3, I get 15 equals my second y. If you think about it, if I come back up to here, it kind of looks like it's going to be really far up there, and maybe at a negative 1. So the answer to this guy is negative 1, 15. Again, just put your middle points here, plug in one of your x's there and y there, or one of your ordered pairs here and here, and solve. That should get you through page 11. I'll come over here and write it down. Negative 1, 15. And we're more than halfway through this. I'm going to update this weekend and get you a few more pages, although I bet you remember how to multiply binomials on the next page. Thank you, guys.